Hey, Maria, can you hear me okay?
I can. How are you?
Great. And yourself there?
I'm good.
Aside from the doorbell ringing, all is good here. And I really appreciate you taking the time and being right on time and all that. So I was thinking about your career, but while I was researching for this interview, and you're still young, yet you're almost year-wise at the halfway point of your life of being in and around entertainment at a high level. Do you ever think about that? That you're like, you've got 17 years of being on television?
I, it's weird because it gets away from you. You don't realize that, oh, that's 17 years. I appreciate you calling me young. In this business, I am ancient, which as a female, which I don't feel ancient and it shouldn't be
Right.
ancient. It's constantly changing and it's so exciting to see all the new opportunities for women my age and above. But no, it's weird. I have to like remind myself of that.
Yes. Now, if we wanted to pigeonhole you, we can say, oh, she's a wrestler. If we want to pigeonhole you further, say, well, no, she's a wrestling manager. No, she's a mother, etc. But going through all your credits, you had an EP about a decade ago. We've seen you modeling. We've seen you acting. I assume you have enough acting credits to have a SAG card.
I do not.
Oh,
No. I could, but I haven't gone that route.
well, the bottom line is there's all that. Plus, you went back to school, got your degree, and you found success with planning events and managing events. So it really becomes hard to say, this is Maria, she does blank. So if you're ever in this bad small talk kind of thing, like you're in an airport and you're waiting and someone strikes up a conversation, when they say, what do you do? What do you say?
I'm a manager. Because through all of it, the common thread is that I've been managing my career. So I guess you could call that an entrepreneur, but that gets thrown around a little too much sometimes. Um, but I manage. I manage my career. I manage my two crazy children, sometimes three, depending on how my husband is that day. Yeah, I mean, I'm a manager.
And that list of credits is without mentioning the podcasts. You've had a few over the years. You had one with Mike,
Yeah.
which was great. I remember when we used to do AfterBuzz TV
Mhm.
recaps and all that. So you've got this very, very active career, and you're now part of Ring of Honor again, we should say. You're basically the face of Women of Honor. Do I have that correct? Or that's the
We're
assumption to the
strictly
face of it?
staying with women's division. We've kind of dropped the other acronym. The title moving forward will be the Women's Championship. So I think it's a little bit cleaner to explain it that way. Um, I I'm on the board of directors.
Oh,
And so because I'm on the board of directors, I have this great role of uh, being a talent representative in a way. I like to say I'm mama bear with as far as the women are concerned. Because that's more all encompassing for what I do. And I love it. It's so much fun. Such like to see to watch these women's careers blossom over the years and now to be involved with that process is so fun. It's amazing.
that harkens back to what you were saying a couple of minutes ago about being a manager. Everything you do is management oriented. And
Yes.
if I can project a little bit, it seems like a lot of the success you always hustled, but you didn't quite say, this is the job I want. It's just more like people saw you working hard and went, hey, have you ever thought about this? And you kind of went, I'll try it. I've never done that before. And that leading to the next gig. Am I way off base with that?
I worked really hard to get into WWE, and I said that I wanted to be an interviewer, but it wasn't necessarily the only thing that I was like willing to do. So I'm always open to options of things, but this role that I have now is the one that I want. For the first time in my career, other than event management, which is a total, I always put that like on the side. In wrestling, this is the first job that this is what I fought for. And it's exactly where I want to be. So I'm really happy with that. But other things like wrestling, that wasn't what I was trying to do. When I got into WWE, I was a actress and model. And I really liked Jonathan Coachman's and The Rock's interactions. And the reason why I got put into the finals of the Diva Search was because I called Jonathan Coachman a popcorn fart. So like I love the role as interviewer,
Yeah.
but I didn't really know where I would land when it came to that. I love managing when it comes to managing my husband, and but again, it's like you said, where I was just open to options. But now I definitely have a role that I fought for.
It's a lot of saying yes, though, and trying new things and reinventing yourself, and then also learning, hey, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, it's a lot of saying yes from the outsider's perspective. It's a lot of saying no in my head. That is not what I want. That is not the type of career I want. I do not want you. I don't care what that will do for my career. It's a lot of that along the way, which it will never be on camera, and it's never like the thing that it's not the most important thing as far as the fans are concerned, but for me that is the most important thing. All the no's are what got me here today. And yeah, I mean, I never liked how closed off women in wrestling were when I started. It was like we had this very tiny little niche, and I was like, why? I want bigger. I want more. So in order to do that, it was a lot of saying no along the way. No, I will not do that. No, I will not. Yeah, whatever. It was a lot of no's.
Wow. Well, Ring of Honor, I'm so glad to hear that this is what you wanted to do. This is where you wanted to be. How long did you have to keep it under wraps that you were going there? And I ask that because some people in the wrestling business, they leak where they're going, they fuel the rumors, and then other people can keep a good secret. I'm assuming 17 years in, you can keep a good secret when you need to.
Yes, when I need to and when it fits my agenda. So like we started talking back in August of last year. At first, of course, there's the 90-day clause with WWE, and then there's a pandemic. And so at one point I was like, all right, well, Mike's going to go on the road and never come home because he's not bringing home the plague to my house, basically. So there was that conversation because we didn't know what it was. Nobody knew what COVID was a
Right.
year ago or whatever. We were all very confused. So at one point, the conversation was, you know what? I'll just stay at home and you go work. And I'm sorry, our marriage now is basically you sending money home. Like, these were all conversations we had. But then August hit, and we were outside of our 90 days, and the world started to think about having a vaccine or what comes next. So I talked with Ring of Honor, and it's crazy. They knew exactly where I wanted to go. And their vision was like we were in sync with not the band, what we wanted to do. No one will get that reference except for people around my age, which is so funny.
Who doesn't know who NSYNC is?
Oh, come on. There are people. Anyways, so they knew exactly what they wanted me to do, and
Right.
that's what I wanted to do too. So about August of last year is when we kind of knew this. Of course, there was conversations here and conversations there with other places, and all great conversations. I have lovely things to say about everybody, but
Yeah.
it just worked the best with Ring of Honor.
I'd have to imagine at this point in your career, any company, you can go into any locker room and you know at least 30% of the people there because there's been such changeover in the business.
Yeah, except for the indies. I went to some indie shows down in WrestleMania, and I went, who are these people? Like, I know nobody. All great. Like everybody's lovely. And but no, didn't I knew basically no one except for the girls that I was scouting. So and the reason why I went was to meet more people.
And when you signed with Ring of Honor, was Mike in the discussion the whole time, or are they just two separate deals that managed to pop up around
Two
the same
separate
time?
deals. Mike actually started before I did. So when did he debut in November? I think he debuted in November. And then I didn't start working with them until December, and then I debuted in January. But we hadn't really signed a full-time deal with them yet. That's just recent.
It's been interesting over the years to watch the evolution of Mike, because going to Ring of Honor shows in the early 2010s in New York, they were just heckling mercilessly about being from Boston. I think that's the only thing they had about Mike. Yet I don't think that factors into who he is as a wrestler, or who he has been for like 8 years now.
No, except for his training. I mean, they had such good training when he was coming up. There were so many different schools. So like that is probably the biggest part of his wrestling, is who he was trained by, but not Boston centralized into his career.
Right. Well, bring it back to you, because, hey, you are the person of the hour here. It's wonderful that you have this job with ROH where you're actually on the board and you're on camera and you're on the social media. It sounds wonderful. And as I mentioned before, you've done the singing thing, you've done the modeling thing, you've done the acting thing. Do you still want to focus on those facets of your career, or is it just about motherhood and Ring of Honor and that's it?
So I never close myself off to opportunities. Singing just really isn't my thing. I love to write. So I realized that after putting out the album, loved producing it, everything, but then realized I didn't want to perform it in front of crowds. It made me very anxious. So I took that part off the table. Modeling, I have an agency in Chicago that I work with. It's the Rock Talent Agency and the Rock Modeling Agency. So I still do that. And I will continue to do that when the opportunities arise. And I will try and integrate that with wrestling and get a little bit of crossover, get more eyeballs on wrestling. Being a mother and owning my wedding planning business, that's just a part of who I am. So, well, it's crazy. I just keep gathering things along the way. Here's a husband and some kids and this, and all right, here we go. Yeah. You just like an octopus, and not Gresham, but that.
Yeah. I get that reference.
T-shirt. I used to have a T-shirt with an octopus on it, and it says I have my hands in everything, and I can't help myself. I get bored too easy.
So it doesn't sound like you're one of those people that's ever sitting around going, you know what I haven't done yet, or you know what I wish I did differently, because there's so much in front of you that you're too busy to be wondering about regrets.
No, I don't believe in regret. I mean, at least in my own life. Yeah, no judgment on anybody else's life. In my own life, I don't believe in regrets, because everything led me here. If I wouldn't have gotten fired, I wouldn't be here. If I didn't have my 2 babies, they wouldn't be smiling at me, looking at me with like Oreos in their mouths and making me the happiest I've ever been. If I didn't have my run in Impact, I wouldn't have had great relationships and great stories with people like Madison and Gail and Mia and Chelsea. And, so I can't regret, because that means I wouldn't be here, and I like where I am.
That is so wonderful to hear. And just 3 quick questions, and then you're free and you can be back to the maternal happiness that you have. And the first one,
I have time right now. I'm off duty at the moment.
Cool to hear that much. Well, we know all about your work life. We know about you as a mother, but what are you watching on TV these days?
I was watching Rain, and now I'm watching Medici.
Wow. Okay, that is some cultured taste right there.
Yeah, I love royals. I don't know why, but I love like figuring out, okay, why is it that things are the way they are now? And like, then you go back in history and you find where those references came from. Why is it called a French kiss? Why, like along the way, why is it that there was such great fabrics and fashion in France? Or why does such great food come out of Italy? And there's reasons that are much bigger than a French fry, So like, yeah, I like going back and figuring out why things have turned out the way they have.
Wow, freedom fries and all. Okay. The next thing, then, you referenced NSYNC before, and 3 times already I've referenced the music you record, which I'm sure is more than you've spoken about it in 5 years, that no one's bringing it up because it's old school. But what music do you listen to? Because I'm sure there's what you listen to when you're training, and then there's what you're listening to when the kids are in the car, and then there's what you want to listen to. What's the last one?
So I listened to a lot of Chris Stapleton and Pink. And then they sang together on a song, and I was in musical heaven. I love those two artists. I love that Chris Stapleton started as a writer,
Yeah.
and he thought he would never perform. And then all of a sudden, everyone realized, oh, this voice, this personality and persona on stage. And yes, this is what I want because this is reality. And I love that he loves his wife, and they
Yes.
sang together at award shows, and they have beautiful babies. And she's like this kick-ass woman that has all these kids, but has this tremendous career. I listen to music for inspiration. So sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's Eminem still singing like a badass when he could be a grandpa. That's cool too. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of both. It's the mix of things for me.
It sounds like your vision board has. Do you have a vision board?
I do not. I have a lot of Pinterest.
Oh, okay. Digital.
Similar, yes, but not an actual, like, because you know what would happen if I had one of those? My daughter would come up and start scribbling just all over it, and somehow Vampirina would end up there. Lots of stickers. But yeah, no, I have lots of Pinterest, and even every character I've ever had, I used to have like a vision board back old school, for what I would wear in those particular roles. What is that character wear when they go to get Starbucks?
Wow. Okay. It sounds like the old adage of Maria has the best mind for the business. That was true. If you had vision boards about that.
So every person has a way that they get into character or into, even if you're a CEO of a company, you listen to something or you do something that before you walk through that door and become CEO, there is something that is under there. And now I get to take that and help others find that, which is great, because finding that out and how they dress as that person or what they listen to, yeah, that makes the depth of a women's division even stronger.
Awesome. Well, my closing question, this can include as much self-promotion and links to social media accounts as you want, is Maria, any last words for the kids?
Yes, watch Women's Division Wednesday on YouTube. Ring of Honor has always been a place of having that up and coming feel to it. A little bit of underdog, a lot of bit of sportsmanship and athleticism. And that's what you'll find on Women's Division Wednesday. And then later this year, of course, we're going to have the women's tournament for the championship. And leading up to that, you will hear all kinds of fun names that are going to be in the tournament. I wish I could talk about them now, but I cannot. You will have to wait till Women's Division Wednesday each week, and we will be announcing those women on the show. So next week's episode is really exciting. The match is incredible. Little bit of veteran, little bit of newcomer, both people So it'll be a really good episode. And of course, watch Ring of Honor television on the Sinclair Broadcasting System, Fight TV, Honor Club, YouTube, etc. Week by week, all this stuff. It should just all fly on the screen. If you want to follow me, I'm on Instagram at Maria Kanellis and on Twitter at Maria L. Kanellis. I do have a Facebook. I pay no attention to it whatsoever. I have a Patreon and I post photos on there. So if you want to see that side of me, that's there. And I have a website, which is official Maria Kanellis. So all kinds of things there. But the most important thing to me right now is building this women's division. So everything else is kind of getting the back burner.
Wow, you cover it all.
Did I? I don't know. There's got to be something else. I like ice cream.
Well, the key is you're doing a lot of great things and really looking forward to everything that's coming from you and Mike. Can't leave Mike out of that in the near future. So just keep on keeping on.
Yeah, pay attention to Mike. He's like fierce right now. I'm so busy that he's like occupying his time with becoming the greatest pure wrestler of all time. It's insanity. And being in the best shape of his life. We used to fight over ab competitions every year. I got pregnant. I've lost ever since. That man is like, oh, you're pregnant? I'm going to get in the best shape of my life. I was like, I have one big round ab and he has like 20. Yeah, it's great.
You two set the bar really high. I think that's what we can learn from this. But more importantly, that your first big break, quote unquote, is never the true big break. And you can have a career if you take all those no's and getting fired and realizing you weren't meant to be in one place and it's all a long-term journey. So projecting all that Maria-ness onto the world can make the world a better place, right?
I always think to myself, I was fired by 3 billionaires within like a month and a half. Vince McMahon, Donald Trump, and then Mark Cuban. I guess I wasn't really fired by Mark Cuban, but like my position was, the show was gone. So I lost my job there too. So we'll just say fired. And that was how many years ago now? 11 years ago. I'm still alive. Yay. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. All that stuff that happens and you think it's the worst thing ever. It's not.
Can't top that. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Keep it up.
Thank you very much. You have a great day.
Paltrocast.